Then he goes inside and upstairs and
Then I give you the things and I will do the track announcement.
Well, good morning, everybody, to Circuit Ricardo Tormo here, 20 kilometres outside of Valencia for round 7 and 8 of the 2020 NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. But it is the Super Speed Week, as we're badging it, because it's not only round 7 and 8 that we will see here with the course of 4 races over this round 7 and 8, 2 races for EuroNASCAR 2, 2 races for EuroNASCAR Pro, but we then recycle everything and we do it all again over the course of Saturday and Sunday for final 1 and final 2 of the championship, where it's even more important because it's double championship points. So there's 8 races to come over the course of today, tomorrow and Sunday, and champions to crown as well at this fabulous venue, built only in 1999 by the government of Valencia, has hosted the likes of MotoGP and World Superbikes, but also has seen GP2 and DTM and World Touring Cars and World Series by Renault. And even earlier on this week, we had Formula E testing here. It's also a very popular testing ground for Formula One over the winter, but it's pure racing that we've got on this weekend with the championship finals, as we say, for the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series for the EuroNASCAR 2 division, as it's called. Those cars will be coming out onto track very, very shortly. And then later on today, we will have EuroNASCAR Pro. And actually, EuroNASCAR 2 have got 2 races. They've got their second race later on today. It's a busy, busy, busy weekend. And all of it is streamed online, all 8 races and the qualifying session tomorrow for this Valencia Super Speed Week. Interesting names returning to the championship. Ander Villarino, who is a 3 times former champion, and at the moment is tied in the all-time winners list on 22 wins with Alan Day. He returns to the championship for the first time this weekend in EuroNASCAR Pro. But we do have Spanish interest in EuroNASCAR 2, because I'm delighted to say that Zahara Esteban returns to the championship. But she's got her birthday this weekend as well. So Sunday, I think, is her birthday. So many happy returns in advance to the Spaniard, who rejoins the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series for the first time since, what, I think 2013, 2014. So it's been a long time since we've seen Aziera in the championship. She's been away doing a bit of rallying since a couple of outings in WRC Spanish championship round over the course of the last few years, but great to see her back in this championship. The safety cars and the medical cars are just heading around this circuit. Let's tell you a little bit about the track as well, because if you weren't with us for the opening round of the 2019 season, you might not be aware Circuit Ricardo Tormo and actually how it lies. It's in a very natural bowl, so the circuit is beautifully visible no matter where you are in the grandstands. Fantastic views all of the way around the circuit. The circuit itself, we're racing on the Grand Prix configuration, which means it's just over 4 kilometres long, so it's 4.005 kilometres. That makes it just under 2.5 miles. It's 2.489 miles, and some tight and twisty and technical sections, but some fast and flowing sections as well, which means that the average lap times that the cars were doing in the qualifying sessions yesterday means that the pole position lap was set at an average of just over 88 miles an hour. That was Vittorio Gorelli. We'll go through the grid very, very shortly. That is, just gives an indication that the speeds that the cars are reaching over the start-finish line before they then head into some of the twisty sections. 14 corners really around this circuit to look forward to, and certainly the drivers have been thoroughly enjoying their return to this track, which has largely hosted the opening rounds of the championship. It was scheduled to be the opening round for this year, but with what's happened in the world generally and rescheduling of so many different sports fixtures. And this is one of those that was moved from its opening fixture in April to start the championship up to its date that it is now, early December, and the championship finale. So the cars are there on track. Let's just have a look at the way the championship standings are coming into this weekend, because as we say, we've got champions to be decided. It is Vittorio Garelli. Now he will start from pole position. Vittorio Garelli, who leads the championship standings coming into this weekend, 13 points ahead of Tobias Dauenhauer. Tobias is the leading rookie as well that we've got in the field. So Vittorio Garelli is back for his second season. Tobias Dauenhauer second in the championship, but the leading rookie, because he'll be hoping that he not just clinches the rookie trophy, he'll want the overall category as well. And Alessandro Bugatti is there for Feedvik Racing, the Italian, in third position. Vladimiras Joitsis has had a really consistent season. We've actually not seen the Cypriot driver on the podium at all so far this year. He's had a fourth at Grobnik last time out in Croatia. Best finish, but he's just been consistent, has Vladimiras Joitsis. He's scored well in every single round. Only one round he hasn't finished in the top 10, and that was when he dropped it into the gravel trap at Grobnik in the first of the two races there. So he's sitting quite well there in fourth in the championship. Nicholas Risitano fifth, and Julia Landauer leads the lady standings, the American driver who joins us for the full championship season. She's been going beautifully well. Again, hasn't had a podium, but has been knocking on the door with fourths and fifths and other top 10s as well. So we'll see how Julia Landauer gets on behind the wheel of her PK Car Sport machine, which is the car that Stinis Longines will drive in the EuroNASCAR Pro Division a little later on today. So this track has held EuroNASCAR since 2012. Was the first year that EuroNASCAR came to Circuit Ricardo Tormo. It has been the opening round of the championship every year since, from 14 to 19 consecutively we've been here, and it's always been sort of rounds 1 and rounds 2 of the championship. And of the drivers that are on this grid here, there is only one former winner of a race here at this circuit that still remains in EuroNASCAR 2, and that was the winner of the second of the two races last year, Nicholas Risitano, who so far has claimed just one single win in his EuroNASCAR career. That was here last year in EuroNASCAR 2. Could he make it the double? We'll have to wait and see as the cars make their way out onto circuit, ready for what is scheduled to be their first of two 15-lap races over the course of the day. So cars making their way around the circuit. We've got a couple of drivers that are making their debut in the series this weekend. Joining the number 10 Not Only Motorsport team here at the wheel of the Chevrolet Camaro is the Finnish driver, which is Levi Lintakanto, who graduated out of karting originally, finished karting, and then moved his way through to finish third in the Legends Championship, the North European Legends Championship last year, for the little 5/8 scale motorcycle engined cars. So we're delighted to have Levi Lintakanto here with us, and we'll see how he gets on over the course of this weekend. There'll be other drivers that we'll see out in EuroNASCAR Pro that will be making their debut as well, the likes of Alberto Panibianco. So there's a few new names, if you're familiar with EuroNASCAR, to the grid over the course of this weekend. But that car there is a name that, if you're a regular with us, should be very familiar to us. Vittorio Garelli, who is the championship leader, who's claimed 2 wins so far this year. New livery also for the 99 this weekend. Looks absolutely fantastic. That is the car that Justin Coots will be driving in EuroNASCAR Pro. But in this race, delighted to welcome him back, the Japanese driver, Kenko Miura, driving that number 99 car. Looks fantastic with its white and its pink and its purple livery. So great to see Kenko back, who commutes from Japan to race with us. It's the only round we've seen him at, though, over the course of the 2020 season. So it's good to see Kenko back, and he qualified that car in 11th position in the qualifying session that took place quite late on yesterday. So qualifying for this race and the EuroNASCAR Pro race done yesterday. There's more qualifying to come tomorrow. That will be the qualifying session for the double points finals. So cars just heading onto the grid. There is Vittorio Garelli, looking cool, calm and collected. And it's been a strange year really in EuroNASCAR 2, because drivers have dominated single weekends. So you look back at what happened at Vallelunga. Tobias Dauenhauer started from pole position for both races, claimed race wins in both races, set fastest laps in both races and won both races. We then went to Zolder, and Martin Dubek did exactly the same. Pole position for both races, fastest lap in both races. claimed both wins, and Vittorio Garelli did exactly the same last time out at Grobnik as well. So it has been weekends of dominance in EuroNASCAR 2, and it will be two of those familiar names that line up on the front row of the grid. So Vittorio Garelli, number 18, starts on pole position. That car there, number 7, Martin Dubeck, will start alongside the Czech driver, just receiving some last-minute advice and words behind the wheel of his number 7 Hendricks Ford, the 25-year-old, who has been a busy man racing in EuroNASCAR 2 and EuroNASCAR Pro generally throughout the course of the 2020 season. Row number 2 of the grid is where we see the number 1 car of the Cypriot driver, the white car with the pink and the green flashes to it. That is Vladimiras Joitsis, as I say, not featured on the podium as yet so far this year, but has been a regular point scorer, top 10 finisher, and therefore lies 4th in the championship standings coming into this one. He's 2nd in the rookie standings, and alongside is the number 50 car. You can just see it there, twice a race winner at the opening round at Vallelunga. It's the German rookie, the number 50 car of Tobias Dauenhauer. So that gives you the 2nd row of the grid with Tobias Dauenhauer's Hendricks number 50 sitting there on the outside of row number 2. If we move on to row number 3 of the grid, it is winner from this equivalent meeting last year at Circuit Ricardo Tormo. It will be the number 12 Solaris Motorsport car in the hands of Nicholas Risitano that lines up there on the 3rd row of the grid, and alongside is number 8, which is Alessandro Brigatti, with Julia Landauer number 11 and 98 Dylan Derdala on row number 4. Row number 5, great to see him back in the championship, only 19 years of age. Israeli Navitalo sits there on row number 5 alongside number 6, which is Simon Palat. Row 6 of the grid is 99 Kenko Mura and number 70, which is Mirko Schultis. Row 7 is Giovanni Trione and Live Lantakantu at the wheel of the number 10 car. Then row number 8 is Yevgen Sokolovsky, the 46, alongside the 54 of Ariana Kasseli. Row 9 of the grid is 33, which is Eric Quintal, and 48, which is Francesco Garista. And off the back of the grid is Ciara Esteban at the wheel of the number 22.
The NASCAR 2. What's going to be your strategy in this first race of the NASCAR GP Spain?
Yeah, it's been a good qualifying. It's good to start in the front. It will be a battle, like always. I'm ready to fight, and yeah, the weekend is long, so stay out of you know, bad stuff. But yeah, looking forward to it, and I'll do what I can, like always.
You're going to have a battle with your teammate Tobias Dauenhauer, who is in 2nd place. Did you share information before the race, or did you keep a little secret for him?
No, we are very good teammates. All the team Hendricks is all open. I mean, we don't have secrets with each other, but yeah, we're all very strong, so it will be a battle until the end. I'll just, you know, try to do my job and go for the win, and then see what happens.
Grazie mille and good luck.
Thanks, Andre. Yeah, wasn't expecting that we'd get to chat to Vittorio Garelli, so I think we just managed to stop what we were saying, get down there for the interview. You can still see how cloudy it is here. It's quite windy as well at Ricardo Tormo, but the circuit is dry. That's the important thing. It is a dry track that we have out there, so there'll be no question that all of the cars will be starting on their controlled general slick tyres that they all have, albeit that they are limited to the amount of tyres that they have over the course of a weekend. So I'm not sure whether we can head down there for another interview. I think we're nearly ready to head back down onto the grid. I think Andre's caught up with another driver.
The next one we have on the grid is Tobias Dauenhauer, 2nd in the EuroNASCAR 2 Championship, and you're chasing your own teammate here at Circuit Valencia. And what's the plan for today?
Yeah, we will go full attack in the race. Yesterday was a disappointing qualifying for us after P1 in the final practice session. So only P4 in the qualifying. So now I hope I will have a good race, and we'll yeah, fight for the win and for the podium.
Viel Glück, thank you very much. And now the national anthems. That's it.
So there we go, the United States national anthem and the Spanish national anthem here on the build-up to our first EuroNASCAR race of the weekend, the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series EuroNASCAR 2 division out on circuit. Now, Andre Veigold is down there on the grid, hoping to catch up with some more of the drivers if we get the chance. There's one very happy team member of Solaris Motorsport. They'll be hoping for good things from Nicholas Risitano, who has featured on the podium 3 occasions so far this year. At each of the circuits that we've been to, Nicholas has finished on the podium, once at Vallelunga, once at Zolder, and once at Grobnik. At this beautiful circuit, double rainbow by the look of things, albeit sadly not many people here to see it because we are closed to spectators. There is no public viewing of this event here, unfortunately, so the only way you can view it is the way you're watching it now here on our social media channels. But that's not to say we're going to see some pure racing coming up very shortly. These 5.7 litre V8 engine, 400 horsepower cars, remember 4-speed manual, they weigh about 2,700 pounds, so that's the equivalent of just over 1.25 tons. And certainly for the EuroNASCAR 2 drivers, they will be hoping that they can have a great sleeves up battle. The rain though now coming in, which looks awful. We saw the rainbow. We didn't expect the rain to come quite as quickly or quite as heavily. Now the wind is whipping through, but that is going to make it difficult for the drivers now. They're sitting there on the grid on slick tyres, and decisions will have to be made by the teams and no doubt Philippe Gaudet, who is our race director, as to what to do in these conditions, because with the weather coming in, the General slick tyres that they're all on, General Tyres, the exclusive supplier for EuroNASCAR for the last couple of years, may not be the right decision, but may well be that the race is declared open by the race director, which then really what that does is by race is declared wet by the race director, and once it's declared wet, then it's up to the teams to decide what to do. It literally means it hands them the responsibility of deciding whether they stay on the slick tyre and brave it out by the look of the conditions, or they switch onto the slick, or they switch onto the wet. Rather, she'll have to wait and see. So there we go. Instruction given for the drivers to start their engine. The track still looks pretty dry, actually, so just a passing shower, fingers crossed, albeit this time of year, cold ambient temperature. Beautiful day yesterday it was in Spain, but it certainly looks as though a decision has been made, but with the rain having just blown through very quickly, we're going to get this race underway, and all of the drivers opting to stay out there on their slick tyres. So Vittorio Garelli, the championship leader, starting from pole position. Martin Dubeck, who lies 8th in the championship standings, starting alongside. The reason he lies 8th, despite the fact he's had 2 wins, a 2nd and a 4th, is he didn't appear at Vallelunga. Martin Dubeck, the COVID pandemic taking an effect with Martin, meaning that he wasn't able to travel to Vallelunga, so he lies a little bit down in the championship standings, which for normal years wouldn't have so much of an impact, but this year, because of the rearranged season and the shortened season, there is no drop round, there's no joker score that you can drop, so every single round counts towards the championship. So that number 7 Hendricks Ford that lines up alongside the 18 of Vittorio Garelli, and all Hendricks lockout on the front row of the grid, is not quite as high up in the standings as otherwise it would be. Row 2 of the grid, as we say, Vladimiras Choitsis with his Alex Caffey Racing Race Art Technology Ford Mustang. Alongside is the number 50 of Tobias Downhauer, who lies 2nd in the championship standings. Nicholas Rititano and Alessandro Pagatti on row number 3. It's Julia Landauer and Dylan Derdala on 4. Neve Talla returning to the championship, but non-championship point scoring this weekend, as it's his first appearance of the season. Sits alongside Simon Palat on row number 5. Kenko Miura, again non-championship scoring for this weekend, and Mirko Schultis on 6. Row 7 is Giovanni Trione and Live Lintercanto, again non-point scoring for Live Lintercanto, the Finnish driver, on row number 7. Yevgen Sokolovsky and Ariara Casali on row number 8. Row number 9 is 33, which is Eric Quintal, and 48, which is Francesco Garisto, and Sierra Esteban on the 10th row of the grid on her own, and again she is having her first outing since 2014, and therefore this weekend is also non-championship scoring. If it's your first appearance of the season, you do not score championship points this weekend. It doesn't stop you going on the podium and getting involved in the prize ceremonies if that's what you are eligible to do, but in terms of counting points towards the championship, when it comes to that, those drivers that are non-scoring disappear almost, so any driver below them moves up a place. In reality, they do not count. You can see, yeah, the dampness on the track there. You could just see the shimmer of the water from the brief rain spell that we had. So that will, without question, affect the amount of grip that the cars will have. And we'll just have to wait and see as to how tricky that makes that, and whether we are going to get everybody cleanly through the first few corners, weaving from side to side, the key and on and off the brakes to try and build temperature in the core of the tyre. So on the brakes, let the brakes warm up. That will radiate out into the wheel rim, and we will also see that temperature radiate through into the tyre. Race control reporting there is light rain still at turn number 1 and turn number 2. Well, they are already through turn 1 and turn 2. We're just now heading in towards the middle section of the circuit. And then from there, we'll wait and see as to whether we get things underway this time through, or whether they might give them a second formation lap. So they're just coming down the short straight and in towards Champijeros, which is turn number 12. Turn number 13 is one great big loop. It's just taken in third gear at this point before they will then start to head back into the braking area for turn number 14, which is Adrian Campos, which is a second gear corner in these cars, and will then bring them onto the start-finish straight very, very shortly. So wait and see as to whether we might get that second formation lap in. Yes, we are. We're going to get a second formation lap in. I thought we might, because of the greasy and what have been over the course of the last 10 minutes unpredictable conditions. So it just gives the drivers the opportunity to build a bit more temperature in the tyres, understand where the grip is as well, which is going to be absolutely key for them, as they will very shortly be charging their way at full race pace up towards turn number 1. So there's Martin Dubeck, so he qualified on the outside of the front row of the grid. He was not that far off Vittorio Garelli. It was just 81 thousandths of a second separated the pair. It was a 1:41.631 from the Italian on pole position. For Martin Dubeck, the Czech driver, it was a 1:41.712, so just 81 thousandths of a second separating them. Vladimir Joitsis was just a couple of tenths away from pole position, so he was a 1:41.8. That was a 1:41.809 from him, and Tobias Steinhauer was only a whisker slower than that. He was a 1:41.832, so the top 4 cars were covered by just 0.2 of a second over the course of the qualifying session, and the top 8 cars were covered by less than a second. So it was all rather close in qualifying, and we'll wait and see as to what goes on in the race. Now, this is EuroNASCAR 2, so this is for the young and the amateur drivers in reality, so it's restricted to just silver and bronze graded drivers. Every driver's given a grading, bronze, silver or gold, and in some categories you get a platinum as well. So this is really the young and the amateur drivers. This is the lower level drivers, not being disparaging to them at all, but that's generally the case, so slightly slower, not much slower, but slightly slower. And it also includes subcategories of that. So we have the Lady Cup, which is for female drivers. We have the Rookie Cup, or Rookie Trophy, which is for drivers making their debut seasons in it. That's regardless of age or experience. And we have the Legend Trophy as well within this one, which is for drivers aged 40 and over. So there's different categories that we'll be trying to keep an eye on as the race wears on, and see who is leading those, because they are separate championships within the championship in reality. So, for instance, the leading rookie in the championship is Tobias Steinhauer. The leading lady in the championship is Julia Landauer. And the leading legend we've got in the championship at the moment, I think, is Ariana Casali. I think is the leading legend. So there is Sierra Esteban. Great to see her back behind the wheel of a EuroNASCAR. The cars are getting themselves into 2x2 order, which means that we are going to be good to go green at the end of this lap and get the 15-lap race underway. Hoping that we might be able to get some live timing to assist me. So I've not been able to travel to Valencia, so this is being done remotely from the UK, and hopefully we can get some live timing up, which will at least allow me to pick up on what might be going out on circuit, what's going on circuit that we can't see from our fantastic camera and production team that we've got. So neat 2x2 order. The lead car is about to pull its way off into the pit lane area, and then we will get the race underway. Vittorio Garelli and Martin Dubeck on the front row of the grid, And as they head in neat 2x2 order up towards the start-finish line, 2 lines of 2. You can't break from that line until you've got to the start-finish line, not before the green flag waves, and they charge their way up towards Aspar, which is turn number 1. Vittorio Garelli leading the pack as they head up in towards the first left-hander. It's going to be Martin Dubeck in second place, and Nicholas Risitano, I think, has made it through into third place. Yes, he has. Tobias Downhauer is fourth. So the big loser there was Vladimiras Choitzis up into turn number 2. So this is doing second gear round through the left-hander. Yeah, Choitzis is down there in 5th place at the moment, accelerating their way up towards the kink at turn number 3, and then up towards turn number 4, which is the right-hander, second gear at Nico Triol, which feeds into towards turn number 5. But already Vittorio Garelli is starting to just gap the cars that sit behind, as everybody is queuing up to be second at this stage, turning their way as the speeds start to build up towards Aniel Nieto, which is turn number 6, second gear again, then down the straight up towards the kink at turn number 7, taken flat out. Still in third gear though at this stage. Nicholas Risitano almost being pushed there by the car of Tobias Downhauer that sits behind and off, I'm afraid to say. And in the gravel trap, that is Giovanni Trione, who is out somewhere on circuit. And it's going to drop way down through the order. Place change there as well. That was the number 8 of Alessandro Brigato, gaining a place over Vladimiras Choitzis. So Choitzis now down towards the bottom of the top 6 by the look of things. The race still continuing. Giovanni Trione being covered by localised yellows for the moment, at least. We have not gone full course caution. And the cars are about to head in towards the conclusion of lap number 1. Great fight going on for third position. Nicholas Risitano under pressure from Tobias Downhauer, with Alessandro Brigatti now joining in the fun as well at the wheel of the number 8 machine. There goes 11, which is Julia Landauer. We can see the yellow flags at turn number 1, so still just covering it with localised yellows. No timing available to me in the UK, I'm afraid, so this is purely just off pictures. There we can see on the exit of turn number 1, and now Tobias Downhauer goes for a move on Nicholas Risitano, but that's on the outside line heading up in towards turn number 2, and that's opened the door and has allowed the 8 of Alessandro Brigatti to squeeze his way through. So the Feedvic racing car goes through and gains the place in the hands of the 19-year-old Italian. Tobias Downhauer, who's second in the championship, now loses a place. Might not count for a great deal though, because I gather safety car is heading out there. We are going full course caution, so we might have a bit of reordering to do, and the place gained from Alessandro Brigatti probably won't count, because they will reorder back towards the order that they were before the safety car came out. And now, having had rain a few moments ago, you can see the sun is shining now, so any moisture on the circuit will soon evaporate as we finally have that weather front just move away from the track, and hopefully for the rest of this race now it will remain dry. So there is Giovanni Trione's car. That's the sister car to it in the Cal Racing team, the number 54 car, which is in the hands of Ariana Casoli. And out onto the track comes the lead car. So it'll wait at the end of pit lane, ready to pick up front runners. Other than Giovanni Trione, I don't think anybody else had problems on the first lap. I think everybody else has safely made it through, so you can't confirm that on the basis of there is no live timing available that I can see. It gives me the race positions. So lead car ready to pick up the pack, which is Vittorio Garelli, remember. Now Vittorio is on a high really, having claimed his back-to-back wins at Grobnik. And these were his second and third career wins in EuroNASCAR. He claimed one win last year. That was on the oval at Venray in Holland, a circuit that we have not visited over the course of the revised 2020 season. So he will be hoping that he can add to that tally, which would further strengthen his championship position. As I say, he leads on 213 points coming into this one. There goes Francesco Garisto at the wheel of the number 48. I think he's probably still the youngest driver we've got in the field. He's only 17 years of age, Francesco Garisto, and raced in things like Formula 4 in Italy and did the Lotus Cup in Italy as well, did Francesco Garisto. So safety car out there, all of the drivers still weaving from side to side to try and maintain some sort of tyre temperature in their tyres to make sure that they're in the sweet spot as and when we get things back underway. Shouldn't be many laps really just to pull Giovanni Trioni's car out of the gravel trap. Car that he shares with his father, Mauro Trioni, will drive that in EuroNASCAR Pro. And it's being winched out of the way. As they get that car fully out of harm's way. No damage to it, I think he's just dropped it into the gravel trap, so it should be, other than a good take the wheels off and clean all of the gravel out, which will go into all of the nooks and crannies of the car, so that will keep Cal Racing busy, but at least they won't have repairs to carry out. It's more just a case of cleaning the car up and removing all the gravel from it, and then we'll see it out, hopefully, in the hands of Giovanni's father, Mauro, for EuroNASCAR Pro. The 46, that's the second of the two cars from Marco Steep. That is Yevgen Sokolovsky's car, Ukrainian driver, a bit like Francesco Garisto, who we saw in the 48 a moment ago. Both of those have come through the recruitment program for EuroNASCAR, but Yevgen Sokolovsky is a former bike racer and the team owner as well in motorcycles. Did a bit of late model racing in late model V8 as well at Venrated, Yevgen Sokolovsky, the 42-year-old. Now, I thought the rain was disappearing, but there's still a few little spits that you can see on that camera shot there. Now, that's Adrian Campos. That's turn number 14. And, yeah, in comes the rain again. Right, okay, this is going to make things very difficult again. So just as we had the sun at... Well, we've got the sun at this part of the circuit. We've got rain at the opposite end of the start-finish straight. We always talk about microclimates and circuits. It would appear that, yeah, that Riccardo Tormo also has its own microclimate. Beautiful sunshine at turn 1, which is the first corner, but the final corner of the circuit, raining. And in fact, yeah, a few spits here at turn number 2 as well. You can just see them on the camera screen. So again, the weather just blowing through. It has been quite gusty, I gather, in Valencia over the course of this morning. So whatever rain appears should hopefully quickly move on again. For the moment, we sit under full course caution, with the cars still circulating and trying to maintain that temperature whilst Barney Trioni's car is pulled out of harm's way. So Vittorio Garelli was leading at the point that the safety car came out, the lead car. Martin Dubeck is second, Nicholas Risitano third, fourth is Tobias Dauenhauer, so they've reordered that. So Tobias Dauenhauer is now back to fourth place and down to fifth again, despite the fact he just gained the place as Alessandro Brigatti, but that's because of the reordering. I did say I didn't think it would count, and no, they have reordered those cars back into the positions they were prior to the safety car coming out and the full course caution. Vladimir Choitzis looks as though he's there in 6th place. 7th place is Dylan Dare Darla, and it looks as though it's the number 11 PK Cosworth Chevy of Julia Landauer that's there in 8th position. Yeah, absolutely, I can see that's there in 8th place. This has all been done by the naked eye, as we say, because live timing would appear not to want to work over the course of this morning, despite the fact that the link was working beautifully well yesterday. There is nothing at all suggesting that it's working today, so it's all being done by the naked eye, I'm afraid. So they are now getting themselves into 2x2 order, which means that we are going to be good to get back to green flag racing at the end of this lap. So are we going to see Vittorio Garelli get the jump again over Martin Dubeck? When we went green at the start of the race, it was the number 1 car of Vladimir Choitzis that went backwards in terms of starting position, because he started 3rd. He's down to 6th in the race now. He can't really do with losing that many more places, really. The Cypriot rookie, so he's in his first season of racing, 23 years of age, did a bit of SMP, Formula 4 and Formula Renault and karting. Another driver that came through the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series recruitment program as well. There's so many of them that utilise that recruitment program to understand the cars, commit to the championship season, and then fingers crossed propel themselves up to EuroNASCAR Pro and maybe NASCAR on the other side of the Atlantic as well. So buckle up, everybody, you're about to go green again, and as the cars charge their way over the start finish line, it is Vittorio Garelli who is on the inside line and is under pressure from Nicholas Risitano. Is Risitano going to try and sneak his way up the inside? 2 wheels on the grass, almost makes contact but just about gets away with it, and now has got the inside line on Martin Dubeck. And the bravery of the Italian, who won here last year, his only career win so far in in EuroNASCAR. He's now up into second place, which means that Dubek is down to third. The door is open for Alessandro Brigatti to try and squeeze his way through as well. Brigatti can't quite do it, but then slides wide coming out of the corner and comes under pressure from the number 50. There's a bit of bumping and boring further back. Julia Landau with smoke coming from the tail end of her car, and I think Dylan Derdala with damage to the rear end of the 98 as well. So a couple of cars have got themselves together at the restart, but they're all continuing round still at the moment, albeit a couple of them just bearing the scars of what was really tight at that restart, but everybody thankfully just about avoided each other. Vittorio Garelli still continuing to lead. The number 18 Hendricks machine still continues to lead his Ford Mustang, and he's not really getting away to the same degree now, is he, now that he's got Nicholas Risitano in the Chevy that sits behind. So Ford leads, Chevy second, Ford there in third place. There's the number 1 car of Vladimiras Joitsis. He is still in 6th place, so he didn't lose any further places at that particular restart. So he's hung on to 6th position, the driver that lies 4th in the championship standings. But the charging car at the moment is number 8, which is Alessandro Brigatti. He lies 3rd in the championship standings, and he's had a couple of seconds. He's had a 3rd and he's had a 6th so far this year as his best results. Over the start-finish line, another lap chalked into the book. There's going to be a drive-through penalty, I'm afraid, for an infringement under safety car for Sierra Esteban at the wheel of the number 22 DF1 Racing Chevy. Not quite sure exactly what happened there, so that will be something that she will have to deal with. And another car that's got a drive-through as well is Nave Talor, I gather, for not only Motorsport, the Israeli driver at the wheel of the 89, non-championship scoring, both of those drivers. They will both have drive-through penalties for some sort of infringement. Race still continuing. Nicholas Risitano still under pressure from the queue of cars that sit behind. There's number 50 Tobias Dauenhauer, who is lying 5th in the race at the moment, but he'll be doing the math and just making sure that he stays within touching distance of his main championship rival Vittorio Garelli. 13 points separating them coming into this race, 40 points for a win in the 2 races today. There is the drive-through for Sierra Esteban, number 22 car. They were also expecting a drive-through for 89 as well, Nave Talor. Yeah, 40 points for a win, 35 for second, and descending from 1 point for every position thereafter. Remember, when we get to the finals, it's double championship points, so that's the races that take place tomorrow afternoon and over the course of Sunday. Clouds in the distance still, but for the moment we've got the sunshine and we've got a great fight still going on for 2nd and 3rd place, up towards Adrian Campos. Nicholas Risitano, the Solaris Motorsport number 12, under pressure from the Hendricks Ford, number 7 of Martin Dubek that sits behind. Nothing doing now as they went through turn number 14. They rocket their way down the straight. Great soundtrack that these 5.7 litre V8 engines make. Remember, it's a 4-speed manual gearbox. Right, there's the drive-through for 89 as well. We were expecting both of those, so that's confirmed by what we saw on our screen there. And around this circuit, they're averaging nearly 90 miles an hour, so you can imagine what they're doing down the straights. Martin Dubek closes up under brakes. The unloaded wheel on the inside just locks up very briefly there. The Ford looking to try and put the Chevy under pressure. On come the brake lights, flicking their way in towards Nico Triol, which is turn number 4, which instantly becomes turn number 5, the second of the 2 right-handers, and from there starts to go uphill a little bit now, up towards Aniel Nieto, which is the 2nd gear left-hander, turn number 6. Speed starts to build once you head out of this corner, and turn number 7 is flat out. Kink at 7, before they then head up towards turn number 8, which is Bernard Martinez, turn number 8, and then from there you start to come downhill again through 9 and 10, and then up to turn number 11, which is really difficult because you're still turning as you come out of 10 to get on the brakes at the right-hander at turn number 11. Quite a difficult corner, this one. Easy to run wide on the exit of it, but all of this squabbling for 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th. You can see the 4 cars together heading up towards Champieros, which is turn number 12, is just allowing race leader Vittorio Garelli to break away a little bit more in the lead, and again now up towards Adrian Campos. Martin Dubek, I think, certainly is probably the quicker of the 2 cars at the moment, but Nicholas Risitano, a race winner here last year, his only career win so far in EuroNASCAR 2, is just making sure he gets cleanly off the corners, and that makes it very difficult for Martin Dubek to do a great deal about it. see the gap first to second is just opening up all of the time. Now, what can Martin Dubeck do here? He's had a couple of little nibbles heading up towards Doohan, which is turn number 2. He's at the inside this time. Surely he's going to go through. Yeah, grabs the inside line. Nicholas Risitano sees him coming, lets him go, knowing full well that maybe he's the quicker car at this stage. Let him go, and then maybe you might have a bit more left later on in the race to try and re-attack and take second place back. But for the moment, Risitano is also under pressure from the next of the cars that sits behind. There we go, there we can see the race order at this stage, with Vittorio Garelli leading, Nicholas Risitano now no longer in second as Martin Dubeck has gone through, so he's down to third. Brigatti's there in fourth, Tobias Danhauer fifth, Vladimir Choitsis in sixth place. The leading lady we will have will be down in eighth place, which is Julia Landau, and the leading legend at this stage will be number 70 in ninth place, Mirko Schultes. So that will be the categories and their respective leading leaders at this stage, as cars continue to press on. Now Martin Dubeck, having taken second place now, is starting to pull away. I thought he would. There's damage also and smoke, isn't there, coming from the front of Alessandro Brigatti's car. That's just a little bit of bodywork that's rubbing the front right hand corner of that car. Is, yeah, just bodywork rubbing. Now that might be cause for concern for Brigatti in terms of the tyre potentially wearing out or overheating. Ideally, you'd want that bit of bodywork to part company with the car. It might also be a cause of concern for the race director as well, so they might have to have a look at that and potentially show the car a black and orange flag if they think it warrants it. And for Brigatti, yeah, he's now just allowing Tobias Danhauer to squeeze his way through. Just that bit of bodywork, isn't it? It's just catching that front right corner, and that means that now number 8, the Viedvik racing car, loses a position, albeit Tobias Danhauer locks the brakes on the 50 and almost gives him the place back. So Tobias Danhauer now having gained the position, that will move him up into 4th place, which at least gives him an extra championship point. Now that the number 50 Hendricks Ford is through and ahead of the Viedvik racing Chevy, can he pull away? There's also the car of Vladimiras Choitsis hovering around in the background as well. That's the white car with the pink flashes, the number 1 Alex Caffey Racing Race Art Technology Ford, in the hands of the Cypriot driver. Third car in the queue, and is looking to try and close in on the number 8, whilst that bodywork is still flapping and still giving Alessandro Brigatti no doubt a little bit of cause for concern. Towards braking area for turn number 11, down the short straight that brings them up towards the flat out kink at turn number 12. Very fast section of the circuit this, where car moves from one side at turn number 12 through Campieros up towards the curve, the left-handed flat out curve at turn number 13. Still in third gear at this point as well, down to second for Adrian Campos, with 4th, 5th and 6th still absolutely rooted together. They're about to head over the start-finish line now. Vladimiras Choitsis has got a bit of a run here on the number 8 car of Alessandro Brigatti. Can he go through on the way up towards turn number 1? Well, Brigatti is defending, still with that damage on the front corner of his car, but for the moment, Choitsis is still having to sit behind. Now, can he do anything here up towards the heavy braking area at Doohan? No, line covered off by Brigatti. So it's still the Viedvik Racing Chevy ahead of the number 1 Ford that sits directly behind. It's a good little fight, and I think Brigatti now is struggling a little bit because he is dropping away all of the time from Tobias Danhauer as well. So 4th place car of Tobias Danhauer pulling away from the number 8 Chevy. It doesn't look as though that front corner is going to part company. It looks as though it's the whole of the composite wing on the car that's coming loose, but not loose enough to flick off that errant bit of bodywork that's just causing the issues. It's only certain parts of the circuit where it seems to catch as well. Oh, a little bit of contact there, I think, as almost Vladimiras Choitsis got into the tail end of Alessandro Brigatti. That was close as they came through turn number 8 and turn number 9. They go up towards turn 10 and 11 very shortly, and looks as though Vladimiras Choitsis is starting to maybe get a little bit impatient here. He wants to try and pick his way through. Brigatti's not doing anything wrong, neither is Choitsis, to be fair. There was just that little touch between the pair of them, but again, he's lost a bit of time through the middle part of the lap here, the Cypriot, and the number 1 Ford is now just too far away again to try anything on the run in towards Adrian Campos. So another lap chalked into the book. Over the start-finish line they will come. Vittorio Gorelli comfortably leading the race from Martin Dubeck in second position. Third place is Nicholas Risitano, and fourth is Tobias Downhauer, in a race that has been largely going to plan, I would say, for the vast majority of them. We've now got, what, I think 10 laps completed of the scheduled 15, and as they head through turn number 2, right, we lost another car there, and that might be one of the Marco Steep cars. Couldn't quite tell as it was trying to drag its way out of the gravel, but it might be able to keep going by the look of things. That car will tumble all the way down through the order, but I think it might be one of the either the DF1 Marco Steep Motorsport car of Francesco Garisto, or the sister car to it, the Marco Steep Motorsport car of Jevgen Sokolovsky. Certainly looked like it because it was a black tail end to it, but couldn't quite catch enough livery of the car to absolutely identify it. Alessandro Bugatti has done a good job here of holding off Vladimiras Choitsis. Now, just up the road is a little bit of traffic. The number 22 car, which is Sierra Esteban, returning to the championship for the first time in, what, 7 or 8 years, is a lap adrift and is just going to be passed by Tobias Downhauer, who squeezes his way through on the run in towards turn number 11. Now, Alessandro Bugatti needs to deal with the traffic as well as quickly as he can. He's not going to do it through Championneros, which is turn 12, so it'll be round through turn 13 and up towards the end of the lap, turn number 14, the final corner, Adrian Campos, where the car of Alessandro Bugatti will need to squeeze his way through. And yet, staying neatly out of the way is Sierra Esteban, Spanish lady. Just make sure that she keeps out of harm's way, and through goes Bugatti, through goes the number 1 car of Vladimiras Choitsis. So they can still roll up their sleeves and slug it out over what is 5th and 6th positions. 11 laps now completed. Vittorio Gorelli leading by 1.8 seconds. And into the pits has come Nave Tallo by the look of things. So it might have been Nave that went off the circuit. Now, Choitsis briefly having gained the place there over Alessandro Bugatti, but Bugatti instantly returns the favour and is able to squeeze his way back through again, snatches a break. Again, it's that unloaded wheel, runs wide coming out of the corner, which almost opens up the door for Vladimiras Choitsis. It looks as though there was a slight mistake mid-corner there as well, with an extra bit of steering input put in by Alessandro Bugatti, who I think is really struggling now, perhaps with the number 8, as the tyres start to go off a little bit. To see as to whether there's going to be any further opportunity where he can squeeze his way through and past. I don't think he's going to be able to do it here again. So no, Vladimiras Choitsis still sitting behind. Can he get a run coming out of the final corner and try again on the run up towards turn number 1? Laps are ticking away, opportunities are ticking away. There's 11 now, that's Julia Landau. She's running in the top 10 again and has been doing superbly well all season, I would say, Julia Landau. Lies 6th in the championship standings. She's 8th in this race and has got non-championship scoring car Kenko Miura behind. Great to see Kenko back in the championship. A driver that's been a regular in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series for quite some years, the 41-year-old Japanese driver. As for our race leader, though, Vittorio Gorelli was safely on his way. No pressure at all on Gorelli. Martin Dubeck looks as though he might have closed the gap a little bit over the course of the last few laps. The gap is now down to, 1.3 seconds, so Martin Dubeck is coming. As for Choitsis, he still can't find his way through and past the young Italian that lies ahead. So, is this the opportunity? No, he's just too far back. Bugatti's got the move covered off, so Choitsis alters his line heading in towards Duin, which is turn number 2. Turn 3 is flat out, so it's not really an overtaking opportunity. In towards Nico Triol, he's too far away, so there's nothing doing there. The next corner, which is turn 5, comes up very quickly. So the next opportunity to overtake might be at Aniel Nieto, which is just at the top of the hill here, the left-hander turn number 6. But again, Choitsis is just too far back. He's pushed, he's tried hard, it's not for want of trying, but the Cypriot just cannot unlock the door to permanently grab that position away. So they briefly had it, but a corner later, back went the number 8 of Alessandro Bugatti. And it's at this part of the... Right, there we go, that's the problem for Bugatti. I think the front tyre might finally have given up on that car. Through goes Vladimiras Choitsis. It was gallant effort from Alessandro Bugatti to hang on to that place for as long as he could, but you could see there, going through that corner, that the front corner, front right corner of Alessandro Bugatti's car just did not want to turn in anymore, and that's the tyre that's had that bodywork rubbing on it for the last half a dozen laps or so. So I think any left-hand corner now is probably going to be rather difficult for Alessandro Brigatti. Over the start-finish line, that's 12 laps now completed for Vittorio Garelli. The lead gap comes down to just 0.8 of a second, so it's come down by a full second over the course of the last few laps. So Martin Dubeck is on a charge here. Remember, Garelli's claimed 2 wins so far this year. Martin Dubeck has claimed 2 wins so far this year. And there's only a couple of laps to go. Are we going to see one of them claim 3 wins? Or are we going to have what happened last year in EuroNASCAR 2, where on the final corner of the final lap, both first and second places, which is Andre Castro and Myatt Snyder, if memory serves me correctly, the 2 Americans took each other out, and that was what allowed, I think it was Giorgio Maggi to go through and grab the win. Can't remember who finally took the win, but remember the leading pair took each other out at the final corner in EuroNASCAR 2 here at Circuit Ricardo Tormo last year. Well, Martin Dubeck is coming through the first sector of this lap. He is a little bit quicker than Vittorio Garelli. He's quicker again through the second sector, so the gap will have come down by another, I think, 0.3 of a second so far on this lap. So it's down to about half a second now, and Martin Dubeck is pushing as hard as he possibly can to see whether he can really mount a challenge in the closing stages. They go through the third sector of the lap, and he's a tenth slower, so it's come down by maybe 0.2. So it might be down to about 0.6 of a second at the end of the lap, subject to how they get on in the fourth and final sector of this 4 kilometre or 2.5 mile circuit here at Circuit Ricardo Tormo. Now, a little bit better exiting turn 14 was Vittorio Garelli, but now Martin Dubeck picks up a little bit of a tow as they head over the start-finish line and conclude yet another lap. And yeah, it's down to 0.4 of a second, so it's there or thereabouts for Martin Dubeck. He's not far away, but he's not quite close enough at the same time to try anything as they head up towards Dewan this time. So through turn number 2, up towards the kink at 3. The leading rookie that we've got in the field is still Tobias Dauenhauer. He's down there in 4th position. The leading lady for the lady trophy we've got is Julia Landau, and the leading legend is Kenko Miura. Actually is the leading legend, say not championship scoring, but he would be on the top step of the legend trophy podium, which would be great on his return to the championship. We're now on the last lap of the race as well, so lap number 15, and for Vittorio Garelli, is he going to make it 3 on the trot, or is there anything else that Martin Dubeck can throw at this one? He's had the stronger car towards the tail end of it. He's diving up the inside. Is there going to be contact between the pair of them? There's a little rub between the pair of them, and Garelli just about manages to hang on to the lead of the race as they flick their way through the kinks, but that was the opportunity for Martin Dubeck. There might not be many more of those either for Martin Dubeck, so he needs to get on with this through turn number 11 up towards Championeros. Martin Dubeck runs very wide heading out of turn number 11. There's only 3 corners to go through the right-hander at Championeros, which is turn number 12. And then up towards turn number 13, it was the final corner of the final lap that decided the win last year, when both of the front drivers, first and second, took each other out. But it looks as though as the rain starts to fall again, Martin Dubeck is just too far away, heading round through Adrian Campos. So it's going to be Vittorio Garelli now, who heads towards the checkered flag and victory lane in round 7 of the 2020 NASCAR Whelen Euro Series EuroNASCAR 2 division. That makes it his 3rd career, his 3rd win this season, his 3rd on the bounce, and his 4th career win in total. And remember, he is the championship leader, so he has further strengthened his point scoring at the sharp end of the championship. And we got that race in just before the weather started to close in again, because you can see that all of a sudden the next cloudburst comes along as well. But for Vittorio Garelli, he said to Andre Weigold before the race that he really wanted to have a strong race and was hoping that he might be able to bring the car home for a win, and that's exactly what he did. But wasn't for want of trying. Fair effort by Martin Dubeck. He almost was able to grab the lead with a lap and a bit to go. There's a little bit of contact between the pair of them. Rubbing is racing, as they say, but it was fair rubbing. If Martin Dubeck wanted to have a punt at Vittorio Garelli, he could have, but it was fair racing. Great respect from both of them as they sort of just rubbed each other, but both of them got away with it, and I'm sure they will chat about that one. They both must have enjoyed that one as well as they continue round on their slowing down lap. So confirmation then of the results. It was Vittorio Garelli that grabbed the win from Martin Dubeck in second place, and Nicholas Risitano came home for Solaris Motorsport in the Chevy in third position. So it's a Ford 1-2. The first Chevy home was in third place. Tobias Dauenhauer finished in fourth place, meaning that that was another Hendricks car. Of the front four cars, three of them were from the same team, from Hendricks Motorsport. He was the leading rookie home as well, was Tobias Dauenhauer in fourth place. And fifth went the way of the number one car there of Vladimiras Choitzes. He was the second rookie home, completing the top six. And I've got to say, a good drive considering that the car had had that bodywork rubbing on it for a long, long period of time, was number 8, which was Alessandro Brigatti. I'll give you a full rundown of the rest of the order once the cars head in towards victory lane. And once we've had a chat to our winning driver, Vittorio Garelli, for a socially distanced and, of course, masked interview as well, as they will need to be at the moment. So the cars trundling their way in towards the pit lane area here at Circuit Ricardo Tormo. Remember, that is just the first race of many to get through over the course of this weekend. It's the first of 2 races today alone for EuroNASCAR 2, because they have their second race later on today at around about 4 o'clock Central European time, 15:55. The stream goes live. That's 9:55 if you're watching Eastern time in the US. So Vittorio Garelli heads towards victory lane for the third time this season. He will be hugely, hugely delighted, will the 26-year-old Italian, and that means that he is now 4 times a career winner in the EuroNASCAR 2 division, 3 of them coming this season, and as I say, back-to-back as well, with wins last time out at Grobnik in Croatia for the first ever Croatian NASCAR Grand Prix. He claimed both of the wins there, and he's won the first one this weekend as well, so getting the finals weekend, this Super Speed Week weekend at Valencia, off to the perfect possible start for the championship leader. So down in victory lane, we should hopefully be able to have a word very shortly with our race winning driver, who's just about to get out of the car before we lost the VF camera that we've got down there. I think the signal was struggling a little bit, which is why we lost the shot. You can see still rain in the air as well here at Valencia, which hopefully will disappear in time for the EuroNASCAR Pro race, which will be the next one that will be coming up. Our EuroNASCAR Pro race goes live around about 20 to 1 this afternoon. So let's head down to victory lane, where Andre is with the winner, Vittorio Garelli. So Vittorio about to get out of the car, and then there will be some congratulations, no doubt, from the team. Apologies that we're struggling with the pictures from down there. There we go. So out of the, rather athletically jumping out of the car, comes Vittorio Garelli. The Hendricks crew on hand to receive their congratulations. They've engineered him to another win again. Across comes Martin Dubeck as well, the 2 teammates who say great respect from the pair of them. It was so close, but they were never as teammates going to take each other out. It couldn't have been any closer though, as with a lap to go, Martin Dubeck saw the glimmer of an opportunity for a win, but Vittorio Garelli just about managed to close the door and fend him off. But the two of those will be delighted with a great start to the weekend for both of them. Remember, Martin Dubeck not really in the championship hunt. Mathematically, he could still win it, but because he was not at Vallelunga for the first 2 races, and you can't drop any scores this year, it does mean that he's always going to be playing catch-up to everybody. So he's 8th in the standings, but has arguably been one of the quickest and one of the most consistent drivers in conjunction with the likes of Vittorio Garelli and Tobias Dauenhauer in the 2020 season. So conversations going on. The teams will have to re-prep the car and get that number 18 car ready for the EuroNASCAR Pro race that will be coming up later on, because when that car heads into EuroNASCAR Pro, it will be Giorgio Maggi, the Swiss driver, that will be driving it. And once they have got it fully prepped, busy day as well for the teams, really. You think they've got 3 races today, those cars that are out there now, because EuroNASCAR 2 has 2 races, EuroNASCAR Pro has 1 race, which isn't the usual format. It's usually 2 races a day for the same car, not the 3. So off comes the crash helmet of Vittorio Garelli, on will go the mask, and then hopefully we can grab a win with the man who has just won the first race here for EuroNASCAR 2 of the NASCAR Grand Prix of Spain. Remember, he is also the championship leader. I'll hand you downstairs where Andre can chat to the race winner.
Victory lane, how do you feel?
Yeah, it was a very hard race, tricky conditions. I managed to get a good gap in the beginning, but then I had a little problem with the power steer, so my steering went very stiff, and my teammate caught me back, and in the end, yeah, I managed to keep him behind first. This is what counted. I think we got also the fastest lap for next race. So yeah, very happy. Let's carry on like this.
Your teammate was very hard to you. It was an intense fight, a battle. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I knew it would have been a battle, so I don't mind. As long as it's fair and we don't, crash into each other, we can battle. I mean, we're here for this, to battle and yeah, let's keep the good flow and let's see what we can do.
All right, thank you.
Great to hear from Vittorio Girelli there, and yeah, what a battle it was between himself and Martin Dubek. So just to confirm the results, and the win goes away with Vittorio Girelli, with Martin Dubek in second place and Nicholas Risitano in third. The leading rookie home was fourth, Tobias Downhauer, with Vladimir Choitzis in fifth place and Alessandro Brigatti in sixth. Seventh was Dylan Dare-Darler. Eighth was the leading driver home for the Lady Trophy, Julia Landauer. And ninth was the leading driver home for the Legend Trophy, which was Kenko Miura. Francisco Garisto completed the top 10. In 11th place was Levi Lintercantu, the Finnish driver that joins the championship this weekend. Eric Quintal finished in 12th position. Yevgen Sokolovsky was 13th, ahead of Ariana Casali and Ziara Esteban, who was 15th. Mirko Schultis, Nave Talo and Simon Pilat were the last of the runners. The weather closing in here at Circuit Ricardo Tormo, but that doesn't mean that we haven't got more racing coming up over the course of today. Remember, we've still got 2 further races to come over the course of the day, the next of which will be the EuroNASCAR Pro Division. The stream for that will go live if you're watching Central European time. It's 12:40 if you're watching Eastern time in the US. Thanks for joining us. At 6:40 in the morning, you need to be back up for. And if it's EuroNASCAR 2 you want to rejoin us for later on, they will have their second race of the day at 15:55 CET. The stream goes live. That's slightly more palatable, 9:55 Eastern time in the US. So from all of the team out there at Circuit Ricardo Tormo, myself, Mark Werrell, based here in the UK for this one. That's all for the moment. But join us again later on today at Circuit Ricardo Tormo for more NASCAR Whelen Euro Series action. Until then, goodbye.